Okay, I've only got time for last question. Last question. I'm just going to go with this guy right here. Red shirt. Here you go. Although, let's see, he's a Buckeye. Now, how can you be wearing an Ohio State? I thought, aren't you supposed to be wearing a Mizzou shirt?
Hold on. Whoa. Hey, hold on. Every year, national title game, me and friend pick a team, so I got stuck with Ohio State the last 2 years, unfortunately.
Hey, I'm just saying.
So,
I'm not trying to cause trouble here, but
hey, I'm not
you are
either.
supposed to be wearing a Mizzou shirt, right?
It was 5 o'clock in the morning when I got dressed.
All right,
Hold
go
it
ahead.
against me. Come on. I just want to know, how do you plan on holding like big business accountable for environmentally, like being bad to the environment, and also like inhumane practices? And then second quick question, can I get the fist bump? Just.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, look, let me tell you how I'm going to hold big business accountable. I'm going to hold big business accountable by making sure that you hold me accountable. And you know what's going on enough that you can hold Congress accountable. I mean, here's the problem that we have in our political system. Big business, they've got lobbyists who are in Washington all the time. Now listen, not every lobbyist is bad. I mean, some of them, they're just trying to present their point of view and their side of the story. But they're there all the time. And they're giving big contributions. And they are donating, and sometimes they're taking congressmen on junkets and trips. And so they end up developing a huge amount of influence, which means that if there's a little tax break somewhere that could save their company $1 billion, they are making sure that that tax break gets passed. You don't know anything about it. You're not reading about it. You're not paying attention. I mean, you couldn't even pick the right shirt in the morning. So So the problem is that over time, business ends up being able to exert huge influence over Congress. More so on the Republican side, but look, this is a bipartisan thing. Lobbyists are influencing Washington generally. That's why on the energy thing, everything's all about drilling all the time now. Even though these are some of the same folks who voted against alternative energy, voted against higher fuel efficiency standards on cars, because the oil and the gas companies are pouring huge amounts of money into trying to get their hands on potential additional leases. That's how the system is working right now, how it has been working. The way it's got to work is that your voice is heard at least as much as business's voice is heard. I'm not trying to silence business. I just want to make sure you're not silenced. And in order to do that, there are a couple things. Number one, again, that's why I don't take PAC and lobbyist money, because I want to make sure that we raise our money from you. We raise our money, 90% of our donations come over the internet. Our average donation is about $100, right? And so we are getting $5, $25, $50 checks. That makes me accountable to the public at large as opposed to a few narrow interests. That's point number one. Point number two is we've got to increase transparency and accountability in government. And that means that, for example, that means that we're going to post, I've already put forward a set of rules, we're going to post legislation before I sign it so that you can look at it on the internet and comment on it. We're going to make sure we're going to make sure that we continue to have town hall meetings like this and virtual town hall meetings. And I'm going to make my cabinet officers get out of their offices and go travel and visit communities that are being affected by regulations that they're issuing. It means that we're going to shut down the revolving door. Right now, you've got so many people who go into business, they go into politics, they're in Congress or they're in the White House. They do that for a few years, and then they go out and they start working for a lobbying firm. And they're lobbying their old colleagues, and in some cases they are, when they're still in Congress or in the White House, they're regulating companies that later on they're going to go lobby for. Well, listen, the guy who was the chairman of the committee that passed the prescription drug plan under Medicare, where we couldn't negotiate for the cheapest available price on drugs, which made the drug companies billions of dollars. A few months after he pushed that bill through, he went to work as, guess what? The head lobbyist for the pharmaceutical company, making $2 million a year. Now that's going to make you kind of cynical about how Washington works. So we're going to shut down that revolving door. And by the way, I've already done some of these things. You know, legislation that I passed, working on a bipartisan basis, eliminated meals, eliminated gifts from lobbyists, eliminated the use of corporate jets by members of Congress from lobbyists. So we've already shut down some of these practices, but we're going to make it tighter so that every legislator in Washington feels accountable to you instead of accountable to big business. And if we do that, now we're still going to have some fights. You were mentioning the issue of environmental protection. One of the biggest fights we're going to have, and this is part of our overall energy strategy, is what are we going to do about global warming and climate change? It is real. It is serious. If you look at our weather patterns, we're having 100-year floods every 10 years. We're having tornado seasons that we have not seen in generations. We are seeing hurricanes, drought, fire. The weather is changing, and we've got a fairly narrow window to do something about it. It's going to be a big fight with businesses to make them more accountable for the greenhouse gases that they're sending into the atmosphere. Now, we want to work with them to find ways to do it that are cost efficient and that are creating jobs over the long term, not just draining our economy, because we also need to grow our economy. But the only way I'm going to be able to get that done, the only way I'm going to be able to get health care done, the only way that we're going to be able to have a tax code that's fair for every American is if I've got the American people behind me. And that's why these kinds of meetings are so important. I need you fighting for me. I need you voting for me. I need you standing up for me. Because if you do, then we're going to win Missouri. We're going to win this election. You and I together will change the country, change the world. Thank you, everybody. God bless you.